Good morning. Welcome to the Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, November 6th. Call the meeting to order, and I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Good morning. On the attendance roll call, Commissioners Morse.
Here.
Merchant. Here. DeBoer. Here. Hildebrand. Here. Steck. Here. Ponstein. Vice Chair Burrell. Here. Commissioners Coleman. Here. Halstead.
Here.
Teal. Here. Sparks. McLeod. Here. Hennessy. Here. Oliver King.
Here.
LeGrand.
Here.
Womack. Faber. Here. Pekla.
Here.
Morales.
Here.
Bujek.
Present.
And Chairman Green, I'm sorry.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have 19 yeas and 2 nays. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 3, which is the invocation, and I'll call on Commissioner Morales.
Hello, everybody. I have to offer today a reflection on love and purpose as we do our business today. One of the first lessons of my childhood is that God is love. As I've grown, I've come to conceptualize this for myself, and it's a very simple mathematical expression that, if God is love, then love is also God. 1 John chapter 4, verse 8 states that anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. In her book, All About Love, the scholar Bell Hooks writes, "Love is as love does." She places emphasis on the expression of love, not just as a feeling, but as an action. As we gather here today, immersed in numbers, decorum, reports, emails, my least favorite, and other mundane aspects of this work, I find it incredibly important to ground ourselves in the reason of reasons that brings us here today. Are we rooted in love? As we examine line items in our budgets, develop our strategic plans, review our mission statement, and establish our priorities, are we rooted in love? As we navigate artificial food shortages, find that our neighbors' families have been broken apart by cruel systems, and profit from the destruction of creation, I beg that we ask ourselves, are we rooted in love? This year, as we reflect on our votes, our commitments, and our priorities, I'm proud to say that I do see love in each and every one of you, showing up for the communities you represent, in the advocacy you practice, as you speak to the needs and concerns of your neighbors, your families, and your constituents. However, there's still much to do. Our county needs more than just words of love. They need our love in action. I believe that we're more than capable of rising to the challenge and executing the work that we do in love to tend to Kent County with love. Oh, I think I said that twice, sorry. Thank you for reflecting with me, and love bless you. And now we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. We will move to agenda item number 5, which is the special order of business. For our special order of business today, we'd like to welcome our very capable County Clerk and Register of Deeds, Lisa Posthumus-Lyons. Good morning, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Good morning. This is the Clerk Register's annual report, which is focused on the calendar year 2024 at the end of 2025. My office handles a wide variety of important functions of county government. We create and safeguard vital records and oversee elections within the county. We record real property records at the Register of Deeds office, and we are the keeper of records for the 17th Circuit Court. We have a tremendous leadership team who are here with me today. We have Jerry in the Register of Deeds, Kate in Vitals, and Amy in the Circuit Court Clerk's office. And in the other room where you'll see me kind of going back and forth a little today, we have Mike Sullivan, our elections director, who is getting ready to begin the canvass here shortly. We really this leadership team is complemented on the front lines by our staff. They join me, they join our team in serving the residents, voters, and customers each and every day. And I tell you all the time that I'm biased, but I just cannot emphasize enough how great the staff is that we get to work with every single day. They come, they're dedicated, they're hardworking, and they meet people and challenges head-on and with extreme dedication and professionalism. Our first stop is going to be Vital Records. There's our team right there. This slide here will give you a glimpse into the number of new records we filed in 2024 compared to the previous 5 years. The green indicates an increase in the number of filings, red a decrease from the prior year. Just some things to note, births are rebounding for the first time since 2020. Our deaths are increased from last year, but they're still lower than the 2021 high water mark. Marriage licenses are also increasing, and they're back to the pre-2020 levels. And like clockwork, CPL applications increase every year, particularly with presidential elections. In addition to each of those numbers, for new records, we also issued nearly 98,000 copies of existing records that we keep on file. Those represented 36,000 different requests. So all of this in the Vital Records amounts to about 275 customer transactions a day. Those are broken up fairly evenly between online and in-person transactions. Moving on to our elections division, there is our capable elections team. We have 3 to 4 elections every year in Kent County, and that's not we have May, August, and November. That is not the rule for every single jurisdiction, every single county. Many of my colleagues will go through odd number off years without an election. Here in Kent County, every year is an election. We just have so many jurisdictions and taxing entities here in the county that we really do have an election at every opportunity. 2024 obviously saw the presidential primary making 4 elections. And this past Tuesday was the 30th election that I've overseen in Kent County during my 9-year tenure. But we'll talk about this past Tuesday's election next year. In 2024 was the first year we implemented early voting. So therefore of note is the distribution of voting methods from the November general. I can tell you that there has been so many changes with elections over these last several years. Early voting was implemented at the county level and the local level. Those local clerks did a great job implementing early voting. And when we experienced it for the first time, usually there are things that we've learned that we can improve upon, but it was just a really great unrolling. We found that even with lines, because people were really excited about it, it was really jovial. It was a true celebration of democracy. There were just people waiting and celebrating, just having a good time as they were preparing to cast their ballots. So that was really, really cool to see. In the November 2024 election, we saw 38% of our voters cast their ballots absentee, and then 26% each for early and in-person and election day votes. So it really is going to be interesting to see if that trend continues. Generally speaking, some of these areas that have done early voting for a long time in other states, they'll see them kind of break out evenly, a third, a third, a third. But with the no reason absentee voting that we have, with automatic absentee ballots that we have, it might be interesting to see whether this holds here with the majority of our voters still utilizing absentee. So we continue to watch for those trends. Moving on to the Register of Deeds office. There's our team right there. As the economy goes, so goes our recordings. And lately, it's been going up and down. The number of recordings which result from property sales and transfers, or new or refinanced mortgages, liens, things of those nature. The number of recordings in 2024 was slightly higher than our recent record low from 2023. So this is only a couple years after seeing our near record highs of recording numbers from 2021. You'll notice that when I talk about our highs, our lows, different noteworthy aspects of both, our vital records and our register of deeds, we keep saying 2020 or 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic really impacted some of these numbers simply because of how life changed for that time period. We are on pace to see 75,000 to 80,000 recordings in 2025. We have a $30 recording, a $30 fee for recordings that swings based on the numbers. It really does impact our budget. It impacts the automation fund. We call it the tech fund casually, which retains $5 of each of our recording fees. And it does impact the general fund as well. Moving across the street to the county clerk of the court's office, there's our team there. We have the front line on the top picture and our file staff, our staff in the file room on the bottom. This office manages the filings and it files for most new cases within the 17th Circuit Court. The slide here gives you a good picture of the number of case files the court office opens each year, and the number of documents that are filed within those new and existing cases, and the number of times a file is requested to be pulled by a judge, the staff, media, the public. These are enormous figures that speak to a very busy office. You'll see that picture there is from our archives. It really doesn't do justice to the amount of files that this office maintains, that this office opens and works through a retention schedule. And we have rows upon rows upon rows taking up a lot of space in our Community Archive Center and then back in our file room. 2024 was a good year as far as implementing or working towards implementing technologies that better serve our constituents. In the Registrar's Office, we implemented our Fraud Notify program, and you've heard Commissioner Ponstein talking about it, and you've seen on commercials advertisement about property fraud being on the rise. And that is very true. It's where criminals will record fraudulent deeds to take ownership of property that's not rightfully theirs, and it is devastating to its victims. Systems like ours, like the Fraud Notify, work to alert home and property owners who voluntarily sign up for the free program. They notify them immediately when any kind of transaction occurs involving those records so that they're able to take action and remedy the situation as soon as possible. Our elections team launched an archive of election results. Those go back from 2002 to the present. And they're very user-friendly, they're easily searchable. We're really excited to continue building upon and increasing transparency and access to information for our public. We do hope to bring the pre-2002 results online as well, as funding allows. The Vital Records Office went online in 2024 with a product known as Vitals Access. This is kind of a replacement for the service we used with WebTex, and its features really just make online submission, orderings, and searching of our vital records just more customer, more user-friendly. Our clerk of the court office spent an enormous time with the circuit court and their efforts to undertake what we're calling Operation Paperless, and Commissioner Steck, this one's for you, baby. We partnered with the circuit court to move to a paperless system, which expanded our e-filing beyond the business docket, which had been the only opportunity for electronic filing for years. This project is undergoing a successful launch earlier this year in 2025, so we'll have a lot more to say on that next year in our annual report. But Amy is here and can help me field any questions that we have in the interim. And our own Jerry Chaya, my Chief Deputy Register of Deeds, was honored in 2024 as Chief Deputy of the Year by our State Register of Deeds Association at the annual conference. This was only the second year they've ever given this award out, and it is hard-earned and well-deserved. Jerry is widely respected throughout the state and nation among registers and peers. He'll soon be celebrating his 27th year in this role, so we're really blessed to have his expertise. One little story I like to tell and about how widely regarded Jerry is. I've been on the legislative committee for the Register of Deeds for several years. Jerry has also kind of been a partner with me on that. And this last year, because they're trying to limit the numbers of people from each county on the committee, I got bumped for Jerry on legislative committee. And I'm glad to do it, because I tell you what, we are, as fortunate as we are to have him, our Registers Association is fortunate to have him to ensure that the policies that need to be implemented are worked through the legislature well. So looking ahead, meaning next month and beyond, we'll continue to work to make all of our services more efficient, more effective, and more readily available for our customers. Some of those things, that means expanding more online services and in-person at the clerk's office. For instance, we're exploring the ability to file business registrations online or obtain electronically certified records. So rather than having that piece of paper, in today's day and age, if you didn't get to the clerk's office and you're about to board a cruise ship and you forgot a birth certificate, you can be able to get that sent to you and have it be certified for official use. We also would like to offer the ability for individual customers to e-record the land records. This we have been doing for years for our larger customers, title companies. They have had the opportunity, and since I started in 2017, we've moved from half of our folks were recording online, and now the vast majority of them are. We want to be able to give that opportunity to the grandpa and the grandma and just Joe Sixpack walking in and wanting to, file their records online. We are continuing to launch and expand Project Paperless in the court office. That has been a huge undertaking. When I started in 2017, the message to me was next quarter, we're going to be going paperless with the statewide e-file system. Next quarter, then the next quarter, then the next year, and then it turns to a pilot program. And, it's a huge undertaking for us. I can't imagine the undertaking that it takes to do a statewide system. So I say that trying not to be as disparaging as it might sound, but we couldn't wait. We simply couldn't wait. We're the fourth largest county in the state of Michigan. We have a huge hub, huge circuit court system, and we had to step into modern times for our attorneys, for our judges, for the public. So we went ahead and the leadership in the court office, the leadership in the circuit court was just, the timing was perfect to get that done. And so we're really proud of that. And we continue to update technology across the board that will serve our voters. So I want to take a look at the budget. During our last budget cycle, there were several questions as to why the clerk's office why is their budget grown so significantly? And this slide kind of helps shed some light on that. Oh,
I gave you an extra 5 minutes, Madam Clerk, but I'm not going to cut you off. Please continue. I want you to finish. You guys have a lot to cover, so.
all right. So the slide's going to help shed some light on that. So prior to 2024, our revenues averaged around 9.5 million, with expenditures averaging around 3.5 million. The minimal reimbursements mostly related to special elections. As of 2024, when early voting was implemented, the county is now required to front those expenses related to early voting, for which were later reimbursed by the state. So therefore, according to our budgeting, it appears our expenses have increased by around 25%, really just to cover the early voting expenses. So in a nutshell, our expenses really haven't increased drastically. The IOUs from the state have, so it skews our bottom line. We're really just kind of like on Dumb and Dumber, carrying around a suitcase full of IOUs. And they're good for it, too. My team will continue to work with fiscal to navigate this new world of the realities of the elections budget. They've been, it's a different world for them too. And so they've been very good partners in trying to make that all work well. So that leads to my next slide, almost done. Challenges. Elections continue to get more expensive. They really do, more complicated, and the provisions from voter-initiated proposals as those continue to be implemented. Additionally, our elections equipment is nearing the end of its 10-year contract, which we implemented in 2017. That doesn't mean that it's the end of its life cycle. I maintain full confidence in the functionality of our equipment for the foreseeable future. But I do need to keep putting on everybody's radar, I do this at our local township meetings as well, that the state's begun their RFP process for replacing the equipment at some point post-2026. So there's going to be costs to counties, there's going to be costs to the local governments, and there'll be costs to the states. We were aided sufficiently last go-around by the HAVA funds, Help America Vote Act funds. It's just not anticipated that similar fund source will exist this time around. So going into the next, 3, 4, 5 years, we continue just to keep that on the radar, that we are going to have to fund election equipment in the near future. Additionally, as discussed, the Register of Deeds office recordings are down. So that means revenues in our automation fund, which is, again, we talked about that $5 of every recording fee, those are also down. There's expenditures that we've historically been covering with the automation fund. We've been pretty able to fit those in the narrow parameters by which we are allowed to utilize that fund. But the time will come when we may have to discuss moving some of those expenditures to general fund, such as some salaries, reproportioning rents at the Archive Center, things like that. But we're hoping that we continue to be able to be a good partner in advancing technology as it relates to land records and how our office is able to utilize those funds. With that, Mr. Chair, at your pleasure, I will entertain any questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You did a fine job keeping that under 20. That's a lot
Sorry.
to cover. That was really good. All right, thank you. Any questions from commissioners for the clerk's office? You're not going to let her off that easy. Okay. Commissioner Coleman.
It's not really a question, just a comment and a thanks to you and your team. And in my mind, I just imagine, watching the Lions, and you see and celebrate the, Goff to St. Brown for a touchdown, but really it's the blocking, tackling that, makes that excitement happen. And it's the same kind of thing, everything that you do for our community within your offices, it just makes all of the things that we celebrate in the private sector, nonprofit sector, all the things that are exciting happening in our community, that only happens because good systems and processes that keep people coordinating and keep business happening. So thanks to you and your team. I appreciate all your work.
Really appreciate that.
Deputy Clerk McCumber is a season ticket holder, so I know he likes the analogy. Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. So not sure this is the week to use the Lions as your metaphor, but
Fair point.
certainly thank you for all of the hard work in getting us into the 21st century on electronic filing and what have you. And I know it's an incredible amount of work. If it wasn't work, you would have done this in 2017. But, so thank you for that, though I will admit here that as I moved from my law firm to my sole practice as I wind down, my first filings I did in person at the clerk's office, and I didn't use the e-system. But I do want to acknowledge the clerks. I mean, they are great people. They do great work, and as I stood there and watched them, they're very service-oriented, so you have a great staff there. So whether they walk in or whether they go by email.
Thank you so very much. And it is, that office is a very challenging environment to work in. Number one, we'll get folks trained and we'll get them, up and running. And because they're so good, they're often, poached by better opportunities, which I'm all about, professional growth, but boy, would I love to keep them around. But that's a testament to how good they are. And when they're dealing in the court office, generally speaking, the folks that are at the counter, you're not dealing with the court because you want to.
Yeah, there's not many smiles on their faces.
It's
when they come in.
our goal is to make them feel as welcome and as good as they possibly can. And our goal for our staff too is to make them feel appreciated and keep their morale high. And, I think we've been able to do that pretty well over the last several years, so.
Well, anyway, kudos to them and all, and so I'll miss the electronic filing because you won't be able to see them. And one other thing, on the Register of Deeds, thank you for the reports and the data. Do we keep track of the number of deeds versus mortgages and memorandums and so on?
Yeah, we can split that out. Go ahead, what?
Yeah, we have about like 50 different document types that we track. 50 different, well, I was hoping it was only
fun.
3, but at any rate, and don't want to give you more work, but if that data is relatively easy to get, to me, it would be interesting to see what's our
breakdown?
trend on deed recordings. Because those are the key transactions that.
That's good, we can get you that. Our huge high that we had in 2021, that was generally the result of the market, the real estate market of increased refinancing. With the rates dropping, things like that. So we'll pull some more recent and relevant numbers for you and have that.
Yeah, if you have it, and at least maybe a 3-year trend as to what we're doing or what have you. So,
You bet.
thank you.
That's the Board of Commissioners for you. We don't want to give you more work, but we will. Commissioner Hildebrand.
Thank you, Chair Green. Along the lines of Commissioner Coleman, I just wanted to add my words of compliments to your, 9 years of public service. But the one thing that I've been impressed with is your concerted effort to make our elections process more transparent. And you look at this picture here, you're doing a media interview, and I've seen the interviews over the years during our elections process where you have brought the media in to learn more about the process, the canvassing process, the auditing process, and all of that. And I think, voters go to their locations, they mail in their ballot or vote on election day, and they're just a little unsure and have, maybe a little bit of concern about how secure our elections are. And we've heard that. And I've just been impressed by you picking that up and trying to share with the public and the media that our elections are secure, and this is the process, and there's a lot of checks and balances in the process. So I just appreciate you making that concerted effort. One other thing, I've always been a little critical, not of who's in the clerk's office, but the location of the clerk's office and how it's not easy to get to. And so hopefully in years down the road, we'll have a new building that it's easy for people to access the clerk's office. I remember the first time I came to the clerk's office, I think I was in my 20s, and depending on what floor of the parking structure you park on it, and I don't know whether to go up the stairs or down the stairs to find the elevator and all of that. And so I know that's been a concern of you and your predecessors in that office, and I'm anxious to have a more publicly accessible clerk's office because it's one of the most public-facing services of the county. So
Thank you, I
yeah.
appreciate that. And tune into 2025's report for more on that. But it'll be great when we have the new building for our customers and our public to be able to access all of their county services, just much easier. As it relates to the transparency on our elections, 2020, if it taught me anything, was that the public needs to know more. And so I'll go anywhere. I'll speak to anyone about our elections process, to educate people, to encourage them to participate. So if there's ever any groups that you have that you think it would be beneficial for me to give an elections 101, I'm really happy to do it. That slide, or that picture there, that's from 2024, November. The eyes of the world were on Kent County in 2024, like nothing we'd ever seen. We may experience that again in 2026. It's looking like that might be a similar type of situation. So we were dealing with, Canadian media from India. We were dealing with all of our national outlets. And so we were able, with the help of our communications team and the administration's office, we were able to transform that lobby on election night to a communications hub where all these media entities were able to set up their shops. It was very hospitable, it was very welcoming, and it was just, I think it was very, very helpful in terms of letting them report out to the public the news of everything that was going on here in Kent County. It does mean that, whether our election results are in or not, we're continuously hitting those live news hour, top of the hour type things. So you're dealing with, you got the big 11 o'clock, and then there's that lull, but they're coming in at 4 o'clock with the news break, or the news, daybreak news. And so we were really able to turn that into a hub. And I was really glad, and I think it demonstrated transparency, it demonstrated professionalism, it demonstrated that we understand the magnitude of not just the elections, but of the role that this county plays in them. And so I thank you for noticing.
Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this update. I thought it was really great information. You guys are doing really great work, and I really appreciate what you're doing to provide that transparency for elections, but then also to protect homeowners as well. And I just wanted to know, do you have any data that you can share on the Fraud Notify program in terms of, how many times, people are kind of flowing through this process? Are there some things that, like, is it, 10%? Like, what is
Sure.
it?
I would tell you that the participation level is not what I think what it should be. So we definitely have some work that we can do to promote the program, to encourage people. If you would I'd love to have your partnership in that when you're going to your communities. We can help do that. It's actually really low, wouldn't you say? Yeah, 15,000 people, and these aren't just people, these are properties, these are parcels, things like that. So, I mean, there's just so many more people, more opportunity to have that type of protection put over them. It's difficult to say how frequent it does happen, simply because you don't know it's happened until, it could be years later, right, when a transaction takes place. The thing about it is you're going to be notified whether it's fraudulent or not. So, so anytime these individuals who have signed up, if they're going to refinance, if they're going to sell their property, they're going to get pinged, I should say. They're going to get notified. So we're going to continuously having these types of notifications. And that's not a bad thing. They know it's not going to be alarming unless they haven't been part of the transaction process.
Okay, anyone else?
Actually, if I could just touch on property fraud real quick.
Yeah.
Something that did occur, I hope it was 2024, might be 2025. They're all blending together at this point. But the legislature did recently pass a law that allows registers to be able to initiate an investigation on property deed fraud if we have good reason to believe that it's being committed. Prior to that, our hands were tied. We could know that this was fraudulent and still be required to record it, as long as it met the recording standards, which, aren't anything along those lines. It's how big the font is, how the margins are. So With that, Wayne County was really integral in making that happen. We haven't really seen that yet to have us need to initiate anything, but the fact that we have that tool at our disposal is very encouraging.
Great. I just wanted to add, echo what others have said. Madam Clerk, you guys do a great job. Thanks for having the leadership team here, and I know it takes a whole crew of folks to execute everything that you have to do, but we appreciate your leadership at the helm and the great work that everybody else does. Everything that you guys have to get handed down from the state and their infinite wisdom and the things that we ask of you, and then you do it with that standard of excellence. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love my job, love it. I love working with you, and I'm just honored to keep serving. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. We will move to agenda item number 6, which is public comment related only to the agenda action items. Is there anyone for public comment related to agenda action items this morning? I see none. We will move to agenda item number 7, which is the consent agenda, and I will call on Commissioner Morales.
I move today's consent agenda for October 23, 2025 meeting minutes and other notes.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Womack. Questions, comments, or discussion? I see none. This is a roll call vote.
On
Mr.
the-
Clerk, will you please call the roll?
On the approval of the consent agenda, Commissioners Morse. Yes. Merchant. Yes. DeBoer. Yes. Hildenbrand.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Ponstein. Yes. Vice Chair Burrow.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Halsted.
Yes.
Teal. Sparks. McLeod.
Yes.
Hennessy. Oliver King.
Yes.
LeGrant.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Faber.
Yes.
Pekla.
Yes.
Morales. Bujek.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that you take those yellow envelopes and pass them to the middle, please. All right, we will move to agenda item number 8, which is resolutions. For 8A, I will call on Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 89 of today's date, the City of Wyoming Community Development Block Grant Agreement.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner Sparks. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? I see none. This is a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. We'll move to agenda item 8B, and I will call on Commissioner Oliver King.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 90 of today's date, KCCA fiscal year 26, MDOT Assisted Transportation, be adopted.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Pacla. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? I see none. This is again a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Resolution is adopted. Move to agenda item 8C, and I will again call on Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 91 of today's date, Strategic Capital CIP transfer to the Facility Replacement and Renovation Project for Demolition and confirm assignment of project to Building Authority. That was a mouthful.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner Hildebrand. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Yes, Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. Assuming that this is approved, what is the anticipated timeline, and when will the public begin to see cranes and what have you?
Our Facilities Director, Tim Bradshaw, can answer that question for us.
Yes, good morning, Board. We have an RFP out right now to demolish the hospital, and those bids are due November 25th. We would then bring that to the Building Authority for their approval on December 10th. I would anticipate abatement could start in January and February, and then potentially start knocking the hospital down in maybe mid-March. They need to spray water on the hospital while they're doing that, so of course the weather needs to be above freezing regularly for us to do that, to not make a big pile of ice all around the hospital. So that would be, I think, a rough plan, not having a contractor on board or a firm schedule in hand yet.
Could be a great ice sculpture, by the way. I assume we're communicating this to the public then effectively, so they know what they're going to see.
Yes. I think yesterday there were 2 info sessions for neighbors and the public on that,
Yep.
on the project in general.
Yeah, we did hold a open house yesterday at MSU Extension, just really for a general overview of the project. I personally was only able to attend the earlier meeting, but we had a second one, 5:30 to 7 in the evening as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I see none. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 91, Commissioners Morse. Yes. Merchant.
Yes.
DeBoer.
Yes.
Hildenbrand.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman.
Yes.
Halsted.
Yes.
Teal.
Yes.
Sparks.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Oliver King.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Faber.
Yes.
Pekla.
Yes.
Morales.
Yes.
Bujak.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 91 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will move to agenda item 8D, and I will again call on Commissioner Oliver King.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Resolution 92 of today's date, fiscal year 2023 state and local cybersecurity grant acceptance, be adopted.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner Sparks. Questions, comments, or discussion on this agenda item? I see none. This is a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries and the resolution is adopted. We move to agenda item 8E, and I will call on Commissioner Halsted.
I move to adopt Resolution 93, fiscal year 2023 state and local cybersecurity grant acceptance.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner Hildebrand. Questions, comments, or discussion on this resolution? Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very supportive of these grants and using the money to improve our cybersecurity. I'm just curious how this fits into the overall investment into cybersecurity with King County, and just knowing how extremely debilitating it can be to run into a cybersecurity incident.
I think Tim can help us with that. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good question. We see this as an opportunity. The security framework we follow as it relates to password standards is changing. We see this really as an opportunity to actually ease our end users in their password management capabilities. So we're looking at things, we're calling it multi-factor authentication, which it truly is. But we're looking at things like biometrics and proximity-based types of authentication rather than that traditional username and password that people are seeing. So right now, we change passwords every 90 days. The new standards are saying you can only change your passwords once a year if you want to, but they have to be extremely complex. And so we see this as a blending of those two, make it easier but still meet those standards. So I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I see none. This is again a voice vote. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Thank you. We will move to agenda item number 9, which is public comment related to general county matters. Anybody for public comment related to general county matters this morning? Good morning. Please give us your name and address, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Brandy Ritzma. I live at 5500 Osborne Avenue in Kentwood, Michigan. I'm giving formal notice again of serious procedural and constitutional violations occurring in Kent County's family court system. In recent proceedings before Judge Maureen Gottlieb, I was jailed and sanctioned without a lawful contempt finding, denied disability accommodations, and repeatedly called mentally ill instead of recognized as a person with documented disabilities. Threatened with jail at every hearing for doing nothing wrong but representing myself. The judge said my only right is to remain silent or go to jail. I'm not allowed to object. Those actions violate Canons 1, 2, and 3B5 of the Michigan Code of Judicial Conduct, ADA Title II, 42 U.S.C. 12132, and the 5th and 14th Amendments. The judge handpicked guardian ad litem Stacy Van Dyken stated on the record that public funds would be paying her. Yet Tuesday, November 4, I was billed $5,000. Is that retaliation for speaking here? She waived all fees for my ex-husband, Randy Ritzema, who has not paid prior counsel Daniel Hess Jr., and who continues to receive my social security benefits without a court order, contrary to 42 U.S.C. subsection 407. Testimony from Kennedy Cyber, a CPS investigator, Officer Cradlebaugh from Kentwood PD, and Shasta Gross from Ellie Mental Health on Monday, November 3rd, in the higher courts, relied on hearsay and borrowed notes, contrary to MRE 602 and 802. None produced evidence that I caused harm. None of this testimony was given in Judge Gottlieb's courtroom. Kennedy Cyber with CPS committed perjury. This officer testified while on duty in his patrol car. A year after, he did not make a report or file anything or suspect harm. But Monday, he said, "I'm mentally ill and a bad mother." He admitted he did not watch his own body cam, leaving him as well perjuring himself. Shasta, a master's in her field, did not try to enter her own mental health records, but instead records that were not even hers and from another facility. This is clear conspiracy and weaponization of their powers and duties, breaching all fiduciary responsibilities. Under MCL 750136B, Michigan law defines child abuse as knowingly or intentionally causing harm to a child. When government officials and court officers use their power to separate a parent and a child without lawful cause, despite proof of no harm, they are knowingly causing emotional and psychological injury. That continuing separation is harm in itself, and it contradicts the purpose of this statute. These acts also defy Martin versus Martin 331 Michigan Appeals Court 224-2020, where the Court of Appeals held the alienation and manipulation of a parent and bond is psychological harm the court must stop and not enable.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment related to general county matters this morning? Good morning. Please give us your name, and you have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Siri Levikas. Under MCL 4611B and 4613A, this board has authority to audit and freeze county funds when misuse or unlawful conduct is alleged. Under 18 USC 4, misprison of felony means when you as officials have been made aware of potential federal crimes, you must report them. I ask you to exercise that duty. Refer these matters for federal and state review and help restore integrity, oversight, and the basic right of parents and children to one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Good morning. Please give us your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Mitchell Nelson. I'm at 29 Travis Street Northeast here in Grand Rapids, District 16. I'm also the Michigan State Director for Humane World for Animals, formerly known as the Humane Society of the United States. I'm here today to urge you to introduce and pass what's called a humane pet store ordinance. It would essentially prohibit the sale of cats and dogs at pet stores here in Kent County. There are currently 3 such stores in operation in Kentwood, Granville, and Cutlerville. This would ensure that the point of demand that creates pipelines for puppy mills would be cut off and wouldn't allow them to flourish here in West Michigan. So what is a puppy mill exactly? A puppy mill is a large-scale commercial breeding operation. Essentially, these are very unsanitary, inhumane, cruel places where they're ultimately selling masses of puppies to pet stores that are then passed on to consumers. And so just for example, under the USDA, these breeders legally at this point can confine dogs in cages only 6 inches larger than their bodies, keep hundreds of dogs in stacked wire cages, expose dogs to frigid or sweltering temperatures for hours, breed dogs repeatedly and excessively without limits, and kill dogs they no longer want. And just last year, the USDA found over 800 violations at dog breeding facilities, but did not remove a single dog from them. So there is woefully adequate regulations and enforcement around this. So the way that we try to deal with this is on the consumer end when they ultimately reach those stores. And so this is an issue about cruelty prevention as well as consumer protection. A lot of these places use very predatory lending practices, as well as dispelling misinformation in regards to the health and status of their dogs. So we have countless stories of families, innocently going to buy a dog, finding out within a month that it's got thousands of dollars of vet bills that have racked up because they weren't disclosed, the actual health information was not disclosed or not even obtained in the first place about the dog. And so ultimately, we're not trying to say that everybody needs to get a shelter dog, everybody needs to adopt. That's not always the case for every family. People have different needs. There are reputable, legitimate breeders out there. They don't use storefronts, and they certainly don't use puppy mills. And so with that, we, again, would ask that you would pass this ordinance. We've done this in 12 municipalities here in Michigan, including the city of Detroit earlier this year, and as well as the city of Ann Arbor. Actually, just last night, the cities of Las Vegas and Madison, Wisconsin, both passed these ordinances. And I believe there are 8 states and over 500 municipalities across the country that are doing this as well. So it's the right thing to do, and it really reflects the common sense and common values of folks in Kent County. Thank you. I'll stick around if you guys have any questions. And you have those packets in front of you, but I'll email you that information so you have it as well. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment related to general county matters? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. 1 year ago, the county commissioner approved the John
I'm sorry,
Ball.
I forgot to mention. Can you give us your name and address for the record, please?
My apologies. Juan Garcia, 50 Valley Avenue Northwest.
Thank you.
1 year ago, the county commissioners approved the John Ball Zoo 10-year master plan. This was a process enshrouded with controversy as the zoo sought to further expand its on-site parking footprint, despite promises made 9 months earlier by the organization that such expansion would not happen. Many of you worked tirelessly to understand the concerns of the neighbor, the needs of the zoo, and to find a solution. And this labor led to a last-minute amendment to the master plan proposed parking strategy. And here is a printout of these amendments for you to review. I am here today to express concern about the zoo's treatment of these amendments in the last year. Regarding the first noted amendment, the 25-foot buffer zone was roped off from the beginning of the season, but the gravel road running down the middle of this buffer zone remained graveled until October, with cars still driving through, over or around this poorly roped off area, creating massive safety dangers as cars drove through through green areas and playgrounds while kids were still playing. The zoo claims that the the 375-foot buffer zone has not been established, nor has a berm been created to prevent access to the space. The additional green space that many of you worked to provide to the public remains a compact dirt and gravel parking lot, still used for overflow parking this year, including during times when the South Park, their new south lot, remain unfilled. The zoo claims that the overflow lot in the green space is necessary because they have not expanded parking as proposed in their master plan in the east lot. But they also have made it clear that there is no plan as of right now to add to the east lot in the next 5 years. While the amendment in the master plan requires the zoo to turn the green space up to 375 feet over to the public, this intended return of the land may never occur. The amendments to the master plan need interpretation as the neighborhood has been left vulnerable due to lack of implementation. The public still lacks access to the green space promised in the master plan. This past year has demonstrated the shortcomings of our current operating agreement and zoo master plan, and to keep the zoo accountable to appropriate use and maintenance of the property it is leasing from the county. I will also remind you that included in this operating agreement is a charge by the county for the zoo to maintain and operate the park in a manner similar to a park of the Kent County Park system with similar amenities. That is not the case. Within the current operating agreement, as our elected representatives, you are stewards and caretakers of this leased property, and I ask that you hold the zoo accountable.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment related to general county matters this morning? Okay, I see none. We will move to agenda item number 10, which is the administrator's report.
Just one item today. I wanted to mention that fiscal and administrative staff and our department heads throughout the county continue to monitor the federal budget shutdown daily. Yesterday was a day of note because it became the longest federal budget shutdown in history. And thus far, we're able to keep our heads above water and keep all services intact. But obviously, that's a real-time situation that can change a number of times even during a day. And that's it for today.
All right, we will move to agenda item number 11, which is reports. Any reports from commissioners this morning? I see none. We'll move to agenda item number 12, which is miscellaneous. Does anybody have any miscellaneous items this morning? No, this is tremendous, you guys. All right, with that, we'll move to agenda item number 13, which is adjournment, and I will call on Commissioner Morales.
I move to adjourn a meeting, subject to the college chair, Thursday, November 20, 2025, at 8:30 a.m. for an official meeting.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Hildebrand. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.